Financial abuse silently erodes identity, autonomy, and financial health, yet recovery is possible.
Unfolds quietly in homes, bank accounts, courtrooms, and nervous systems, one that survivors often struggle to name until the damage has already taken root. Financial abuse is one of the most hidden forms of narcissistic control, yet it is also one of the most devastating. It begins softly, disguised as help, guidance, or protection. A partner who insists they're better with money, a spouse who wants to take care of everything, a lover who slowly becomes the gatekeeper of every dollar, every decision, every breath of autonomy. What looks like support becomes surveillance. What looks like partnership becomes possession. As the relationship deepens, the narcissist's financial control expands like a tightening net. They may forbid their partner from working or sabotage their job performance with constant crises, guilt, or manufactured emergencies. They may hide accounts, lie about income, or create debts in the survivor's name. They may weaponize money to reward obedience and punish independence. Every purchase becomes a negotiation. Every bill becomes a battlefield. Every financial question becomes an accusation. The survivor learns to shrink their needs, silence their instincts, and apologize for wanting the basic dignity of access to their own life. Clinically, the impact of this control runs far deeper than empty bank accounts. Financial abuse rewires the nervous system. Survivors often develop chronic anxiety around spending, even after they leave. They may freeze when opening mail, panic at unexpected expenses, or feel ashamed for buying necessities. Years of being told they are bad with money or irresponsible create a learned helplessness that lingers long after the abuser is gone. The body remembers the threat. The mind remembers the punishment. The survivor's relationship with money becomes fused with fear, shame, and self-doubt. The aftermath extends into the legal and social world as well. Many survivors emerge with ruined credit, debts they never agreed to, or financial obligations forced upon them through manipulation. Some face ongoing harassment through the court system, vexatious litigation, refusal to pay support, or strategic unemployment designed to keep them destabilized. Friends, family, and even professionals may fail to recognize the abuse, dismissing it as normal money problems. But financial abuse is not a disagreement. It is a strategy, a system, a method of control that leaves survivors trapped in cycles of dependence and despair. Yet even in this darkness, there is a path forward. Healing begins with naming what happened, not as a personal failure, but as a deliberate pattern of coercive control. Survivors deserve validation, education, and trauma-informed support. They deserve professionals who understand the intersection of financial harm and psychological trauma. They deserve tools that rebuild both their autonomy and their nervous system's sense of safety. Recovery is not just about balancing accounts. It is about reclaiming identity, agency, and the right to make choices without fear. Across the most widely shared articles, podcasts, and documentaries on this topic, a consistent truth emerges. Narcissistic financial abuse is not an accident. It is not a misunderstanding. It is a calculated method of domination that leaves deep emotional, psychological, and practical scars. Survivors are not weak for being caught in it. They were targeted because of their strengths: empathy, loyalty, hope, and the belief that love can heal. The abuser exploited those qualities, but those same qualities can become the survivor's power in rebuilding. One of the most important insights from clinical experts is that financial trauma behaves like any other trauma. The body reacts to money as if it were danger. Bills trigger panic, budgets trigger shame, decision-making triggers paralysis. Survivors often avoid looking at their finances because their nervous system has been conditioned to expect punishment. This is not irresponsibility, it is a trauma response. And like all trauma responses, it can be healed with compassion, patience, and support. Another key theme is the role of secrecy. Narcissistic financial abuse thrives in silence. Survivors are often isolated from information, from resources, and from people who could help. The abuser creates confusion around accounts, contracts, and obligations, making the survivor feel incapable or overwhelmed. Breaking this silence through documentation, education, or trusted support is one of the most powerful steps toward freedom. Information becomes oxygen, clarity becomes safety, truth becomes a map out of the maze. Experts also emphasize that financial recovery is not linear. Survivors may struggle with overspending, underspending, or avoiding money altogether. They may feel guilty for buying small comforts or terrified of making mistakes. These patterns are not flaws, they are echoes of the abuse. Healing requires a gentle, trauma-informed approach that honors the survivor's pace. Small steps matter. Small wins matter. Every moment of clarity, every boundary, every act of self-trust is a victory. The stories shared in documentaries reveal another layer. The system survivors must navigate are often unprepared to recognize financial abuse. Courts may misinterpret financial chaos as mutual conflict. Creditors may hold survivors responsible for debts created through coercion. Employers may not understand the sabotage that led to job loss. This systemic blindness can re-traumatize survivors, making them feel unseen and unsupported. Advocacy, education, and community become essential tools in bridging this gap. Despite the devastation, survivors in these stories also show extraordinary resilience. They rebuild their credit, their careers, their confidence, and their sense of self. They learn to trust their instincts again. They learn to make decisions without fear. They learn that money can be a tool for safety rather than a weapon of control. Their journeys remind us that healing is possible, not through perfection, but through persistence, support, and the slow return of self-trust. As we close this chapter, remember that financial abuse is not just about money. It is about power, identity, and survival. It is about the right to exist without being controlled.